Chada Talks, episode 3.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about COVID.
Oh.
That time in our lives that we all had to endure. Yeah, so we'll be talking a little bit about what we were doing, if we learned anything new, if we did anything different in our lives during that time. So we'll start off when COVID first happened. When was it? Towards the end of January, start of February, I think it was, in 2020.
Yeah.
I was in the UK at that time. I just went back for a holiday. I already had my return ticket to Vietnam. And I remember on the news, they were like, this mysterious new virus from China's just come out. And I remember, I think at that time, there wasn't many cases. I think Vietnam had more than the UK at that time. And I remember that, yeah, at that time, yeah. And I remember being in the kitchen at home and my mum was like, maybe you should stay in the UK. And I was like, I've already got my ticket. I'll just wing it, I'll just go back. I came back to Vietnam around 22nd of February. And I think about 2 weeks later, we went into lockdown. So I just remember the first 2 weeks of coming back, gyms were still open. I was using this app called WeFit.
Oh yeah, you showed me that.
Yeah, it's such a good app.
Shout out to WeFit.
Nah, they went.
Sponsor us.
They went under. They went bankrupt, dude. I was using that app, and on that app you could go to lots of different gyms around. But then after like 2 weeks, all the gyms closed. And for me, that was the hardest bit when the gyms closed. I was like, damn, because I was on such a good, consistent workout routine that when they closed, it's so hard to motivate yourself to work out at home. Because when you go to the gym to work out, you go there for a purpose. Like, you put all your clothes on, you go there and you know you're there for one thing.
Gains.
Yeah, for the gains. But then when you're working out at home, it's so hard to get motivated in the same way. Also, you're lifting a lot lighter. It's just completely different. It kind of sucks. I didn't have any weights at that time, so I was using the big water bottles. I was using that for a little bit for some curls. I was getting these 5-liter bottles and using them for shoulder presses. So just using things like that and using those outdoor gyms a lot. One thing I love about Vietnam is you have all these outdoor gyms with the tricep dips and the pull-ups. There's loads just dotted around.
They're everywhere.
There was one very close to my place where I was staying, a little park. So I was doing pull-ups there, dips. They had a place to do sit-ups. So that was okay. But it was just hard to motivate myself during that time. And then it was about May 2020 where things started to open up again. And I was back working in school face-to-face. Because I was teaching online for a bit as well during COVID. And it's just different. Teaching online compared to teaching face-to-face. Face-to-face is so much better.
Yeah, you can get control.
Yeah, you can control it. And you just get the energy from the students and your energy. It just makes the whole lesson so much better. But yeah, how about you? What was COVID like for you initially?
COVID started for me when back like end of 2019. I was working as a electronics store, HC Home Center in Saigon. And my mom asked me, hey, can you bring this thing to your grandmother? And I'm like, sure. I bring it to her house. And I was there just chilling for a few minutes because my grandma said, hey, I'm going to prepare something to your mother and bring it back. And I turned on the TV and I saw this news. They talk about this new influenza in China. They started in Wuhan and it's spreading very fast. And I think there's a chance this thing might become a pandemic.
Wait, you saw this at the end of 2019?
Yeah.
I thought they didn't know about it until...
Dude, we know it since November.
I was still in Vietnam at that time, though. I didn't hear anything about it.
Oh, dude. I watched the Vietnamese news.
I don't watch the news.
Yeah, dude, I saw that on the news. I'm like, oh my God, this could be a pandemic. And then I went home a few days after that. It spread all over Wuhan. It spread all over China in beginning January 2020. And then COVID officially started for me when I got a message from my university, my school, saying Hanoi got first case. This is very famous. So This girl, she skipped the quarantine in the airport, and she just take her own private driver back to her house, and he got COVID and she got COVID, and they locked down the entire area, the entire district.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I got a message from my school saying, okay, first case in Hanoi, you start learning online classes next week. We're gonna halt thing for now, and we're gonna start online classes next week. We're gonna halt to prepare for online classes. And then online classes start. I was excited for that new semester, so I registered around 8 subjects.
Okay.
I subscribed to it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do good this semester. And then online classes just killing all the good vibes. Waking up, just turn on my computer and just staring at a monitor. There's no dynamic in the class anymore. If you have a bright idea, you can't say it. You have to turn on the mic or you have to type it in. And most of the time, the lecturer is not going to see it.
Plus, most teachers, lecturers, they weren't prepared to be teaching online classes.
None of them.
No one really knew how to do it.
It's kind of sad too when I see some of my favorite lecturers. I can feel the tone of their voice going down when they asked the class and they got nothing in return.
That was hard as a teacher when you didn't get any response.
Dude, yeah, it was hard. And for me, COVID is adapting to living indoors. The first couple weeks, fantastic. Other than online class, fantastic. You don't have to go anywhere. You just have to stay
commute,
home.
right? You don't have to commute anywhere.
Yeah, you just have to stay home, chill, play video games. But after a couple months, I'm just dying to go outside. And there's this feeling in me, this feeling of emptiness after those months of quarantine and this coming back. And dude, we have like multiple phases of quarantine, right? We have quarantine after a couple months. We saw like Hanoi is COVID clean, and then
things started opening again. We had like a year where things were kind of normal.
2021.
Well, from May 2020 to about May 2021,
it
was normal. Then there was that holiday in 2021, the Vietnamese public holiday at that time. It's not Independence Day. Is it? End of April, start of May?
End of April. Oh my God.
Like May the 1st, you have a national...
Oh yeah, May Day.
May Day.
Yeah, May Day.
But what's it?
Labor Day.
Labor Day, yeah. You have a few days off, right?
Yeah.
So at that time, I went to Moine with a group of my friends. And we all had different ways of coming back to Hanoi. Yeah. So I just came back on a plane, just straight from Ho Chi Minh City, flew back to Hanoi.
Yeah.
Okay. My friend, she flew the next day. On her plane, there was somebody with COVID. She had the worst experience. Do you know what happened to her?
What?
She came back to Hanoi, went back to her apartment, went out to a party, and she got a call. It was from like the police or the government, somebody, and they said, you have to go to a quarantine facility.
Right now.
Right now. You have to go home, pack your things, and get to that place right now. We're picking you up. She was scared, as you would be. People in those like hazmat suits came to her apartment, and they were spraying everything down, and then they took her in some van, took her to Hadong, to this lockdown facility, and she said it was the worst experience of her life. And while she was there, I was speaking to her some days too, and it just sounded like a nightmare. It was in some disused building. My friend, she's from the UK as well. She's a vegetarian, and they were trying to give her meat and stuff like that. She just refused to eat it. And then they tried to just give her rice, and her door didn't even have a lock on it. The AC didn't work. Loads of things like that. She was there for a month.
Yeah, in the middle of summer.
In the middle of summer, for a whole month. Wow. Said somebody tried to get into her room one day. It just sounded like an absolute nightmare. Even when I was speaking to her, it sounded torturous. And she was there for 1 month. And then when they finally let her out, I think after a few months, lockdown was over. I remember that lockdown in 2021. We went into a major lockdown in about July. The thing is, Hanoi for like a year dealt with it so well. where they knew every case, every isolated case. I remember seeing it on some websites. They used to have patient number,
Yeah.
whatever.
F1, F0,
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah.
they are.
They had the patient numbers of who had COVID. They also used to write their initials. It's like patient NTN number 35. I think up until that point in that Labor Day holiday, there was only like 35 cases.
Yeah.
And I remember just seeing it after that just
Skyrocket.
spiked.
Like,
And then it was like thousands of cases a day.
Yeah, I remember that day after May Day. I was about to head out to chill, and my mom told me not to. And I say, why? She's like, yeah, Hanoi just confirmed 214 cases. Like, what?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
one day.
Because that was more than for the entire year
Yeah.
before that. Yeah, skyrocketed. Yeah, then they slowly shut things down. So it started off with gyms shut, and then it was the restaurants. You couldn't eat in the place. And then I remember in July, Grab Food stopped selling, and you couldn't go to the supermarket as well, I think.
Oh.
I think supermarkets stayed open.
Oh yeah, supermarket have to stay open. They're like essential, like food, electronics, gasoline. No, I don't think gasoline. Food, electronics, and the thing that, and water and plumbing have to stay open.
When the Grab Food thing happened, that for me was the moment where I went on a water fast.
What's a water fast?
So you don't eat,
Oh.
you just drink water.
Oh.
I had been wanting to do a water fast for a while. I tried it unsuccessfully the year before. I lasted about 2 days, and I just really wanted to eat a burger, so I just ordered a burger. But this time round, I did it for 10 days.
Wow. It's water for 10 days.
Just water, no food.
Protein, no food.
No food.
How do you survive? Imagine the weight you will lose.
I lost about, I never measured my weight, but I think I lost about 4 kilograms, 4 or 5 kg.
That's it?
But it's easy to put back on.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, the water fast, it was a good time to do that. And if anybody ever wants to try a water fast, I'd highly recommend it. 3 days, 4 days is a good amount to try. The first 2 days are the hardest because you're still craving food. But after 3 days, your body just accepts the fact that it's not getting food, and it starts using the fat cells that you've got stored and using those as energy. During that time though, I didn't do any exercise. I wasn't going out because obviously it was lockdown. I downloaded Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on my PC, so I was just playing that like literally every day. And then just drinking water, about 3 liters a day, not mixing anything with it, just pure water. So after 3 days, your body starts to go into something called autophagy, and that's where your body starts to eat its own cells, and it starts eating the cells that it doesn't need. Fat cells and cancer cells, the dead cells that it doesn't need. So autophagy is actually a mechanism that your body has where it basically heals itself.
Wow. So, it eat cancer cells?
Yeah, it will eat cells that it doesn't need. So cancer cells are part of that. So that's why
I should try and do it.
That's why fasting is such a, important thing. And if you go back in time to, ancient times and hunter-gatherer societies and things, they probably went times where they were going days without eating food and just drinking water.
Just drinking water.
Yeah.
Dirty water too.
Yeah, potentially, but they probably had methods of filtering it.
Nah, I don't think so.
They'll probably drink
so
like river water and stuff.
That's explain why we rarely find traces of cancer cells within fossils of our ancestors like Neanderthal, Homo sapiens.
Can you even find
I
cells
think
of
it's
cancer?
like-
When they all
If
have
you have a
deteriorated
bone
already.
cancer,
Okay.
and I believe if you have cancer and the chemicals it go everywhere, they also go in your bones as well. Yeah, and
I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I just know
we
that.
even know. Okay, you guys dug up William the Conqueror in a car.
Richard III.
Oh yeah, Richard III.
That was actually, that was in my university city. I was at uni when that was all going on.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys dug up Richard III, and by analyzing the analyzing his bone, his teeth, you guys found out what he ate when he was alive.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I'll look into it. But yeah, after about a week of being on a water fast, I just got bored. Just drinking water, you actually taste the different waters. Like I could taste La Vie tastes different to Ion Life, which tastes different to Aquafina and Dasani. By the way, Aquafina and Dasani are like the worst waters that you can drink.
Why?
They're acidic. Their pH levels are acidic, so it's actually below pH 7. I think Aquafina and Dasani are around pH 5.
Does that explain why they are so cheap?
Possibly.
Okay.
But if you want a good water, you want to get a water that's higher than pH 7.
Okay.
Because too much acid is actually really bad for your body. I always go for a water called Ion Life,
Ion Life.
and it's pH 8.5 to 9 or between 8 and 9 or something. It's alkalized water. If you want a better water choice, go for that. Because Dasani and Aquafina, trash water, really. After 10 days of doing the fast, I could have gone on for longer, but I was just so bored of not eating.
All right.
After 10 days, I decided to eat again, but you can't just eat straight away. You can't just be like, right, I'm gonna enjoy a big fat burger or something.
Oh, because your gut's gonna cramp, right?
Your whole stomach's shut down. Your digestive system stopped
Yeah.
working. You need to introduce foods very slowly. You start off having like broth. I ordered some pho broth. I was drinking broth for a few days. And then I made some soup for the next days. Just blended up loads of vegetables and stuff and made soup. And then once your digestive system starts again and it realizes it's getting nutrients and things, yeah, after about 4 or 5 days of just having a liquid diet, then you can introduce solid foods again. I'd highly recommend it to everybody, but for me, that was the perfect moment to do it. And yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, because you're staying home, you're not doing anything.
Exactly. I think it would be very difficult to do a water fast while you're still active and going to work and going outside and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Any other activities, any other habit you pick up during COVID?
I subscribed to Skillshare.
Oh, yes.
So there was a moment where I was just learning some new skills. I learned how to make a website and video edit, things like that. Not to a very high level, but just something that, you know, keep your brain active.
Yeah.
I was reading quite a bit, watching so many TV shows and things like that. I rewatched Breaking Bad for like the 4th time. Yeah, what a show. How about you?
I actually did the same thing. I started reading more. Yeah, I started reading more. Actually, I think that's the moment, that's the time that get me into Warhammer 40,000.
Dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous. I read a lot of fictions. I also subscribe to Udemy. I learned how to color grade on DaVinci Resolve as a colorist, and I learned how to do food photography and basically food and beverage photography.
Wow, and you're using that skill now, right?
Yeah, I am.
Great.
Pretty good. I got a lot of gigs from restaurant. I got one like last week from a very high-end, very long-running establishment in Old Quarter. They told me they've been there serving foreigners and Vietnamese and ambassador for like 20 years.
When you were talking about studying at university whilst learning online, were you actually engaged in the lessons? Were you attending every lesson? Or were you doing what a lot of people I know were doing? I have some friends who are students as well, and they would log in and then just put their phone away and do whatever they wanted to do and not paying attention.
I hope my mom doesn't watch this, but at first,
I'm going to send her the link.
no, like at the first semesters, I tried my best to engage with the class. But after that, things start going downhill sometimes. I just log in, do a roll call, and go back to sleep. And for some reason, I let the phone run. I let the class run. I can still hear it. And when
Okay.
I sleep, if I hear my name, just wake up and like, yeah, sorry teachers, I didn't hear that. My internet is not doing well today. And he said it again. I Googled the question. I give him the answer. Sometimes I actually try my best to engage it, but if the class was like taking too long, like dude, advanced mathematics is like what, 4 hours, just constant and constant and constant. But I don't want to say boring, but yes, boring lectures. And then if I'm still awake, I would just turn on Call of Duty and start playing. I remember that it was when the first Modern Warfare remake is released. I just start playing Plunder and Warzone.
I found that when I was just teaching a regular class, like presentation, I didn't know who was engaging in the lesson, right?
Yeah.
So I was just speaking and hoping somebody would answer, or I'd call on the students. But with quizzes, they would have to type something into the game. It was basically a game. I like gamify the lesson a little bit. So for example, if I just show you this, we can explain it. They had a leaderboard, and then when they were answering questions, they'd go higher up on the leaderboard.
Yeah. All right, I understand. Actually, I think we do the same thing we call Kahoot.
Yeah, Kahoot was another one.
Yeah.
But yeah, quizzes definitely helped a lot in the whole teaching aspect for me, because I could see who's learning and who's taking part. And some of the students wrote some hilarious things.
I have to be honest with you, the Quizit and the Kahoot session during class are like the highlights.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
when you're like, okay, you're actively using your brain to do it.
Some students, we were doing presentations at this time as well, and that was definitely one of the hardest bits, was how to get the students to present. But these kids did a presentation about football, and they did it about the Champions League, so you can see all their little faces here, and they're playing the Champions League soundtrack. It was really funny, man. Once I got into the swing of teaching lessons online,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, because it meant that I didn't have to drive to school. Because that was always the most annoying thing, was driving to work. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
The commute.
After
You
lockdown.
sort of wake up and go and teach.
Yeah. After lockdown, your habit completely changed. You have to wake up earlier, get dressed,
Yep.
prepare for class, and then drive to class. Which
Yeah.
is another bad thing that lockdown have done to me, which is like absolutely messing up my time.
Do you know this guy in the background?
Yeah, we're gonna put his picture up here.
So look, the student's using him as his background on. If anyone wants to know who it is, what's his name again?
Ricardo Milos.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's dancing to that Dota song.
I don't know what song he's dancing to, but he is very funny. Look at this one here. So I used to write a question and they had to answer it in the chat box.
Yeah.
And this lesson was about hobbies, and a student wrote, "My hobby is playing chess."
Okay.
Rarely, because no one plays with me. I play chess with my friend or random people. And I was just thinking, playing chess? I was like, I like playing chess too.
Sign me up, bro.
I want to find this one, dude. There was one hilarious lesson. Kid wrote something so funny. Okay, so here was one of the lessons. What are some unhealthy foods you eat? Read that.
When I was a kid, I ate chicken.
When I was a kid, I ate chicken shit.
Oh, I actually did something similar when we were in Kahoots.
Yeah.
So you have to give yourself nickname in Kahoot, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do my intrusive thought is winning, so I'm gonna put in something chaotic. So I put in sick my duck.
Sick my dog.
Sick my duck, not
Dog.
dog, dude. Come on.
Come on, man.
I don't eat dogs.
Okay.
Okay, so I put in sick my duck, and the foreign teachers
You have a foreign teacher at uni?
Yeah, only one class though. International business and international relation.
Okay.
So he's just reading "sick my duck" over and over and over again. And he realized, and he looked at the camera, "Hey, sick my duck, I know what you're doing. I'm gonna write you down. I'm gonna report you. Do that again." And
Is he an old dude or?
yeah, he's pretty old. He's like in his 60s. He's absolutely pissed. So every time you turn on Kahoot, I always go for "sick my duck," and my friends caught up with that. And go like "sick my duck 2, "sick my duck 3, "sick my duck 4," and he's just losing his mind.
Dude, I was teaching this one class for a company. It was basically me and about 200 students or
200?
250 in a Zoom room.
Yo,
So if I unmuted everyone, it would just be a chaos of sound, like just mad sound. So I had to mute all, and then I'd have to individually unmute people. It was very basic lessons. It'd be like, "Hey, Apple, Ming, can you say it?" And then I'd have to unmute him, and he'd be like, "Apple." And I'd be like, "Okay, well done, Ming." And then, "Ling, can you say it?" "Apple." "Yeah, well done, Ling." Some students would write down some weird, like one student put "F-U teacher Khal" as his name. I just had to kick him out every time. Then he'd come back in. "F-U teacher Khal" was his name. I was like, who is this kid? Why is he trying to sabotage me? So many students would write swear words in their quiz's name as well. I had no idea of knowing who they were. I remember one student wrote DMM as his name on. Yeah. Or just like, FU, E shit, just things like that as their names. For me, I just thought it was funny. I'm not so serious like your old man teacher who didn't even say anything bad. He just says "sick my duck" or whatever.
"sick my duck," read it backwards, but
I know.
read it backward in your head.
"Duck my sick." I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. It's not like a difficult thing
before?
No. I mean,
Okay, good.
Been on the
Okay, that means you understand it. All right. One of the thing is when I was in this English class, I think this is business English. We're doing this presentation. It was like close to noon, close to lunch. So one girl is actually cooking. So for some reason, her camera turned on. I was doing a presentation, her camera turned on, and she was just trying to fry this fish. And dude, the fish is raw, it's a fresh kill, so if you put it in like a hot pan, it's gonna jump all over it. And it's jumped all over it, she starts getting scared, and the oil came out of the fire and it starts burning. And we can hear her mom in the background just screaming at her.
She's like, "Luma, da 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 da." Right?
Yeah, she's pissed too, and she tried to like go help her daughter jank out the frying pans, and then she realized the camera is on and her mic was on too. And she's like, oh my god, I'm trying to turn it off.
That's crazy.
And she ended up sharing her own monitors. She's sharing this phone screen. I don't know how she did that, but she did it. So she shared a screenshot, and her screenshot was like, the most K-pop fan girl ever. I see BTS everywhere. And from that incident, we just keep calling her BTS girl.
I had something much worse than that.
Oh.
So I'm not going to name any names because I don't even remember the kid's name. But I think he was in like grade 6. But dude, I swear this kid was playing with himself.
Yo. He got like different monitors. He got his phone over there.
I mean,
he got his
all I could see was his face.
Yeah.
And he was like this. And, looking down, his shoulders moving. I was like, okay, I'm just going to kick this guy out or just ignore him, not speak to him in the lesson. Maybe he forgot that his camera was on or something. He probably didn't even know what he was doing, Anyway, when did you get COVID?
I haven't.
You must have had it.
No.
Everyone's had it.
I never got into lockdown. I take my vaccine, I take my first, I take my second, I take my third. I never got sick. the only time I got sick from the vaccine is from the third one. That's when I okay, I'm not gonna take it anymore. I already took the vaccine 3 times. And then my parents asked me, hey, we need to take the 4th vaccine. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I got super sick last time. I'm not doing it again. That's actually the only time I actually got sick during COVID is from the vaccine.
I got COVID in February 2022. So there was at this point where no one gave a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, we're just going to get it. Who cares? I still remember the moment where I realized that I had it. I was teaching online, and a few days prior to this, I was at my friend's house. We were having a little bit of a gathering at her house. There was about 10 or 12 people there, having some dinner, having some drinks, playing some games. And I remember teaching online a few days later, and I just felt a bit of a tickle in my throat. I was like, okay, maybe it's normal. And then I got a message off my friend whose house it was, and she was like, hey, you feeling okay? And I was like, come to think of it, I've got a bit of a tickle in my throat.
Ooh.
And she was like, yeah, one of the guys at the party, he had COVID, so you should get tested. And then as soon as that happened, I was like, okay. But I wasn't worried or anything. The next day, I told my landlord, I messaged him, I was like, can you get me a COVID test? Because I think I've got COVID. I didn't leave my apartment, so they put the test on my door, took it. You have to put the thing in your nose.
In your nose.
Oh, it tickles your brain.
Yeah,
that
tickle
thing
your
does.
brain.
So I put that thing up my nose, and the line was really faint. So I was like, I don't even know if I actually have it or not. I felt fine. Then the next day, it was a bit worse. I felt just a fever. So that day, I pretty much stayed in bed for like half the day just to recover. And then I did the COVID test again, and that day the line was thicker, clear line.
Ooh.
I was like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. But then the next day I felt fine, It lasted for half a day.
Half a day, that's it.
Just half a day of feeling a bit tired and cold and a bit fevery. Then the next day I felt fine. But then I remember it said that you had to do like 10 days of, or like you had to wait a week or something until you got 2 negative tests in a row or something like that. So then,
just to be sure.
Yeah, so then I just kept doing tests every few days. And then one day the line was just very faint. And then the next day I did another test, it was gone. So I was like, okay, I'm done.
I'm good.
Yeah. But yeah, it didn't last long at all. I was thinking, what's the fuss all about?
Yeah, I don't know what happened during, is the COVID strain you had different from the one
because I heard that too.
Because the one from 2020 actually killed people.
Yeah, Delta.
Killed.
There was Delta,
Alpha, Beta, Charlie.
Is it not? It's not Charlie, is it?
Edward, Delta,
and then Omicron was the one that I think most people got.
Omicron.
Because once it's gone into a human, it will mutate, but usually our immune system messes it up.
Yeah.
So the mutation is not as strong as the original one.
So it actually got weaker.
It got weaker.
Spread faster.
By spreading, yeah.
It's...
And then the vaccine that they made, I think, was for the first strain, so it didn't really have an effect on the last strain. So even though people were vaxxed, they still got it because they got a different strain to what the vaccine was doing.
I would say it's the same guy, but a little different. It's the same virus. It's COVID, but maybe it's a little different because it got mutated. Different. But I believe the core of the virus is still the same. It's still COVID.
You know about the origins of it?
Bats.
Yeah, but where did it come from?
Wuhan.
But where?
Are we going to conspiracy theories?
I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory. I just think it's something that the people who made it don't want you to talk about it because so many people have been silenced. I know loads of, especially, I don't know so much here in Vietnam, but I know in the UK and the US, anyone who was talking about the virus,
the origin, like analyzing it?
Yeah, they would get shut down. Their YouTube videos would get taken down for being misinformation or stuff like that.
Huh.
And people who were talking about the vaccine would get, silenced basically.
Yeah.
Because there's like a few theories. There's the wet market theory.
Yeah.
There's the lab leak theory. But I sort of subscribe into the lab leak theory the most because Wuhan has the biggest viral institute
in East Asia.
in East Asia. They were doing
One of the largest.
They were doing some research on novel coronaviruses at the time as well.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like, how can you say that it came from these animals in a wet market when there's this huge lab creating this virus right there, and you're blaming these little marketplaces?
No coincidence.
That's not a coincidence
at
all.
Yeah, it's not. It's either going to leak out by some biological waste or someone intentionally leak it out.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think it was intentional. At least I hope it wasn't.
Yeah.
But even if it was, it wouldn't surprise me because a lot of people made a lot of money. Cough, cough, Pfizer. They made
You would
billions.
think that.
And once you get into a state where a pharmaceutical company is basically making money
out of creating new disease.
Yeah, so what are they going to want to do? They're going to want to make more money. And they're like, oh, there's this problem and only we have the solution for it. Give us some money and you can have it. Yeah.
Well, I would say if it was leaked intentionally, would China be more profitable from it? China's economy got wrecked during COVID.
Well, the people who...
if China created a virus, and it's not that big of an if, they would have a cure or at least a vaccine already available.
Well, they were working together with the US Center for Diseases. There's a guy, Fauci, Anthony Fauci. Have you heard of this guy?
I thought he's a politician.
He was part of the team who created the virus, who were working on the research for coronaviruses. And then he was also the head spokes guy for the World Health Organization, who was talking about ways to prevent this disease that he was part of creating, allegedly. Anyway.
Yeah.
This is something that we can go
too deep.
Well, we can go deep on this on another episode when we've got some receipts. Because if we're going to go deep on this, I'd rather have all my research in front of me.
Me too.
So that I can fully go deep on it. But back to COVID in general, I think it was a hard time for a lot of people. A lot of people found some success from it, especially people who were creating online shopping, online content.
Courses, online content. Like TikTok literally skyrocketed during COVID.
TikTok became huge. And people are still addicted to using that even now. I think one thing that it really affected was the way people deal with each other. Because at that time, people were quite wary of other people, keeping distance, not really wanting to be around groups. I think that had a bit of an effect on people psychologically, where they didn't want to be in busy places or around so many people. I feel like now, thankfully, things are on the up and up. Doesn't even feel...
We haven't seen a COVID case for a year.
I mean, it's just makes me think, where is it? Does it even exist anymore? Or are we so immune to it now that it's just going to come and go like a...
There. It
like
still
a
exists
common
out
cold.
there, but it just became a common
We're
cold.
just immune to it now, right?
Yeah, it is.
Which goes to show how strong your body's immune system is at adapting
you
to
should
things.
take care of your body too.
Yeah, by drinking chada.
Drinking chada. This is actually very good for your health. Hydrate and clean your liver.
Yeah, one thing actually about COVID, which a lot of people, I don't know how many people are taking this, but vitamin D is actually a very good supplement for who you have. Vitamin D is a very good supplement for
immune system.
for your immune system and not getting COVID, which goes against the whole point of stay indoors, don't go outside. Well, how the hell are we going to get our vitamin D otherwise? I was using it in these supplements, so I think that kind of helped me, I guess, when I got COVID, because I didn't have it for a very long time and it was very easy to deal with. So yeah, vitamin D is a really good way of keeping your immune system on
I
point.
would say with vitamin D, you can just sunbathe.
Yeah, but I mean, at that time, people weren't going out.
I don't know, like...
And in
you have a
Hanoi, we
balcony.
often have a grey sky as well.
Oh yeah, and maybe... best time to sunbathe is 6 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Yeah, because later than that, after 10 a.m.,
The UV,
of the sun is...
much more intense, and you might damage yourself and get a sunburn.
Yeah, so it's first thing in the morning and before sunset as well is a good time to absorb vitamin D from the sun. Golden hour, I think they call it.
Oh, golden hour. Oh yeah, only in the
like-
morning.
No, in the evening too, it's okay.
Oh yeah, I know I don't normally sunbathe during the evening, but if it's golden hour, then it's good. So, there's one thing I noticed during COVID is, before COVID, this is a little more personal to me, before COVID, my family, my mother and father, and myself as well, was in a little bit of unstable stage. We have a lot of tension toward each other. My mother have a lot of tension toward me. She have tension toward my father. My father have tension toward me, and I have tension toward my father. Dude, I was, 19, 20 at the time. I was a young adult. Of course, I'm going to contradict his ideology. So we fought a lot. We have a lot of conflicts. Most of the time, I don't even dine with them. This is one of the things. When I do, I did this is very bad. Is a very bad habit which I should quit, and I will quit. I'm quitting. When I have dinner with my family, I'm just gonna play YouTube on my phone and wear headphones. Like,
Yeah, that's not
the
good.
relationship between me and my family was that bad. But
So you're all at the
during-
table together, but you're just listening
yeah. That before COVID, but during COVID, since we are stuck in the house together for a while, it's actually, I learned how to listen to my parents more. Like listen to what they actually said, they actually mean when they said it. And my parent actually learned how to understand me as a person more. So from now on, even though I work most of the time, I work during dinner time, lunchtime, sometimes I don't even go home until like 2 a.m. I still maintain a well enough relationship between my mother and father. And we actually understand each other more. And my parents start accepting myself for who I am, what I can do, and basically it's a healing process between families.
Yeah.
Between family
I
members.
think COVID helps with that, definitely.
Yeah.
That's,
So there
that's
are
a good
ups
thing.
and downs with COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, should we edit there?
Yeah, we should.
All right, sure.
It's a shorter episode, everybody. I
still
hope you
50
guys
minutes.
enjoy it. And it's COVID.
Take care.
Take
Stay
care.
healthy.
Sunbathe, take vitamins, and
Drink
drink
chada.
chada. Take care of your livers, bro. All right.